welcome to the Sand Report, and this finds us both in Queensland. How are you, Nat?
I'm good. It's so good to be home after being on tour for 5 weeks, 2 of those weeks in Brazil and 3 in China. It is fantastic to be home and see blue sky and eat some of my mum's home cooking.
That's what I was going to ask you. What's the best thing and the worst thing about being on tour?
The best thing about being on tour is getting stuck into the competition. When the whistle blows and the scoreboard ticks over, there's nothing better than playing a high-level game of beach volleyball. The worst thing about being on tour is the hotel rooms, going from one hotel room to another, and the packing. Like, you sort of unpack every week and feel a little bit at home in your room, and then all of a sudden come Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon when you have to move cities, it's frightening to pack it all back up and move to the next city.
Absolutely. And then, so being home, what's the best thing? There's probably not a worst thing.
There isn't a worst thing about being home. The best thing is your own bed and driving a car, actually. It's quite interesting. I haven't driven the car for 5 weeks, and I love my Nissan X-Trail, so I feel I haven't been in a 4-wheel drive either for 5 weeks, so when I get in my 4-wheel drive, it's just a great feeling. And like I said, my own bed and seeing family and friends, and then going back to my business, and it's all great. I love Brisbane, I love Queensland, and go the Maroons for tomorrow night's State of Origin. It's all good.
Okay. So you went really well in China?
Yeah, China was really good for us. The last 2 events in Shanghai and Beijing were Grand Slam events, which means a bit more money and more points, which is more important for us. The first 2 in Brazil and one of the Chinese cities were a bit slow off the mark, but we definitely came home strong and won some awesome matches against Italians and Dutch and the Swiss team and the Finland team, and really looking strong. So we're hoping we can carry that into Russia and Italy, which are our last 2 World Tour Grand Slam events, before they draw that all-important line in the sand, and then we will be told whether we have to go to Continental Cup in China or can come home.
Fabulous. Now, you spoke to some very good-looking bloke who was a long-time beach volleyballer.
Yeah, Emmanuel, and they only get, they're only referred to as their first name. I couldn't even tell you his last name. And he's been on tour now as long as I have, if not longer, to 4 Olympic Games. He's the only male to do that, as I am the only female for beach volleyball.
Yeah.
So we sort of, every time we go past each other, we give each other a smile and a nod and a little hug. And so I love watching him play. I love watching him practice, just the way he holds himself and carries himself. And so it was very special, actually, to catch him in his training and then his off court on the sideline when he was running up and down, and then to speak to him. I mean, that was very cool.
So you asked him what's the best thing about beach volleyball. So what's the best thing about beach volleyball? What do you love about beach?
Yeah, well, he said creativity, and obviously that's one thing that I think if you add, it feels like it's a canvas. You can paint your own canvas playing the game. It's not one thing like swimming where you dive in and you just swim as fast as you can, get to the other end. There's a ball, there's another person, there's another team, the plane. So getting very close, and we're playing great. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. That's